Every day God shows her power, not in a weaponry or military might kind of way, not in a heading to the principal's office kind of way, not in a fireworks once-in-a-century storm knock you off your feet kind of way. No, it's much more subtle than that. It's power that doesn't need us to recognize it to make it real. It's powerful, whether we are paying attention to it or not. Sometimes marred by weather or landscape, sometimes brilliant and bold and breathtaking. When our eyes are still thick with sleep, or when we're already too deep in our daily routine to notice, something big happens. It happens quietly, without introduction or invitation, with only the birds giving announcement. Darkness gives way to light. Night gives way to morning. The world has made another turn. The sun rises. And it's the same wind that whispered across the cheeks and stirred leaves all those centuries ago. The same water that crested into a wave and broke across a sandy shore. The same warmth from the same sun. It is here this morning, and it was there that morning. On that morning, the followers of the one called Christ believed that their lives had been wasted and that all was lost. They had heard their rabbi's pain and seen his death and touched his lifeless body. It seemed as if the world would stop. It felt like it should. And yet the morning came as it always did, with no mind to the feeling of its passive participants. The women disciples had low expectations as they walked to the tomb that morning. They were fulfilling a duty, maybe wishing for answers. The best they were hoping for was closure. The pain they felt over the loss of their Lord welled up from their guts and spilled from their eyes. And yet the sun continued to rise and warm the day, power displayed in defiant silence. As the women reached the tomb, they were unable to make sense of what they saw. Where they expected to find a body, instead they found a void. What they found didn't fit their understanding of how the morning was supposed to go. Their confusion turned frantic as they searched for answers, and then it turned into despair. And the sun continued to rise above the horizon, pushing shadows deeper underground. As the women wept, they heard a voice. "Why are you weeping? Do not be afraid. Why do you look for the living among the dead? You are looking for Jesus who was crucified, but he is not here. He has risen, just as he said." Their world would never be the same. It happened when they weren't paying attention, quietly, without introduction or invitation, without fanfare, and with only the birds and angels looking on. Suddenly, darkness had given way to light. Night had given way to morning. The world had made another turn. Despair made way for rebirth. The sun on that unexplainable morning is our same sun today. The same wind that brushed the hem of Christ's garment and ruffled the hair of the women at the tomb. The same water that fell later as a storm. The same warmth from the same sun. It was there that morning, and it is here this morning. The same Christ walking among us, teaching us to love grandly in spite of our fear, exemplifying the practice of hope regardless of uncertainty, showing us that power doesn't always look like might. Instead, it's a power that's seen in the morning that always comes, even if we aren't paying attention. a continual reminder that we are seen, we are not alone, we are not forgotten. A reminder that we continue to be loved just as we were at the first dawn of creation. Do not be afraid. Why do you look for the living among the dead? You are looking for Jesus, who was crucified, but he is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Give thanks to the Lord, for he is good. God's love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of gods. Give thanks to the Lord of lords. God's love endures forever. To the God who does great wonders, who by his understanding made the heavens, God's love endures forever. Who spread out the earth upon the waters, and who made the great lights, who made the sun to govern the day, and the moon and the stars to govern the night. God's love endures forever. Give thanks to the God of heaven and earth, God of yesterday, today, and tomorrow. God's love endures forever. Amen.